So, IELTS speaking section, the scariest section on IELTS for so many students because everyone is freaked out about it. Most of the students that I worked with online during my one-on-one session had this fear of speaking section, and it turns out it scares the hell out of you. Hey, been there, done that, so don't worry, I will tell you the exact strategy for each part of the speaking test. There are three, we'll get into each one by one. I have uploaded videos about IELTS writing and reading, and if you have watched those, you know I emphasize so much on the strategy because the whole IELTS is 50% your English skills and 50% your strategy. I mean, I scored higher than my English teacher. That doesn't mean he's not good at English. His English is probably better than mine, but strategy is equally important. Even strong English speakers can underperform if they don't know the exam tricks, formats, and timing techniques. That is why I focus so much on the structure. People don't believe me when I say I only prepare for 3 weeks before my test. I even get hate for saying IELTS is easy, but hey, it's not my fault if I find easy ways to do hard things. You could be preparing for months but still end up on the same level for the simple reason that you're unaware of each and every question type. You guys are always looking for hidden secrets and shortcuts, but here is the brutal truth. There are no hidden secrets about IELTS exam. Mastering the strategy is the shortcut, and it's open secret. Search it on IDP or British Council website. They'll tell you exactly how you're supposed to prepare for the test and attempt the questions. But since you're too lazy for that, I will cover everything about IELTS speaking test in this short video so that you don't have to watch tons of videos about just speaking. Now, a little disclaimer, if you are looking for improving your fluency, then I will be honest with you, you need more than 3 weeks. With good strategy, you can score really well on IELTS, but if you want to speak like native speakers, then you will have to do so much more than just take a practice test. I will make a video about fluency after this, and I will tell you how I got this fluent and how you can too, so stay tuned. So now, you're going into the room for your speaking test, and at that moment, I'm pretty sure you're worried about things like, should I dress formal? Should I keep a smile on my face? Should I wait for the examiner to tell me to sit down? Should I try to sound professional? Bro, these are very, very irrelevant things. You are not going for a job interview. Just walk into the room and sit down. The examiner will ask you for your ID and they'll get started and explain everything to you. I walked into the room for my speaking test, and since I took computer-based test, the speaking session was online. There was an examiner on the screen waiting for me. So I went in, sat down, said hi, and that was it. Stop worrying about these irrelevant things. They just take up space in your head, and you need a clear mind to sound confident. If you keep worrying about such small things, how are you going to sound confident? Not just in IELTS, but in life. Anyway, so you are in now and part one begins. So part one is just like a warm-up session. The examiner will ask you very simple and straightforward questions like, where is your hometown? What do you like about it? What is your favorite color? I mean, not exactly that, but you get the point. Basically, those are the questions about you, and you can answer them in a couple of sentences, and that is enough. I think part one is where you get a real chance to sound confident, and first impression matters here too. So because the questions are very simple and you can confidently answer them all. You don't need to worry about coming up with complex ideas or exaggerate unnecessarily. The questions are very straightforward, so should be your answers. For example, these are the questions from official Cambridge IELTS books. How do you usually spend your weekends? Now, what complex or impressive ideas could you possibly think for this? Imagine your friend asking this from you. Would you be thinking in your head before saying anything? No, you would just answer the question and say how you actually spend your weekends, right? I know you are under stress, but think of it as just a friendly talk between you and the examiner. It's hard, but you gotta score. For this question, I would be honest and say what I do on weekends. I would say on weekends, I usually try to balance relaxation and productivity. I wake up a bit late in the mornings and then I spend some time reading or watching movies. That's it. But even if you don't do anything, just say it. Say, I usually don't do much on the weekends. I spend my time eating, sleeping, and just relaxing after all the work I do during the week. Simple. The examiner is testing your pronunciation, your grammar, your fluency, and your accuracy. He is not actually interested in what you do on the weekends. So keep the answers simple and straightforward, and to do that, just be honest. All the questions are about you, your interest, your life, your opinion. It will save you all the time you would otherwise spend thinking about ideas which could impact your fluency. So part one lasts for about 45 minutes, and then you move to the second part. And the major concern that I notice is the second part. What if I don't have any ideas or I don't know much about the topic? How will I keep talking for almost 2 minutes then? Now, this is a valid concern, and many students, when they don't know anything about the topic, try to lie. I get asked so many times, like if the question is asking you about something you can't relate to, what should you do? Like if it says, describe a time you stayed at a fancy hotel. Now, okay, let's say you have never stayed at a fancy hotel. Now, what should you do? Should you come up with a fake experience? I mean, you could. After all, it's not a lie detector test. But my suggestion is to just stay honest. Look, when you're already under pressure, and on top of that, you try to create some fake story, it becomes hard to find the right words. And the examiner could also ask you follow-up questions. So if you pause too much or overthink, they might assume you're not fluent and struggling to speak, even when that's not actually the case. Secondly, keep your responses very simple. If it's asking about your experience like this, then yeah, you gotta just tell your story, like whatever it is, right? But when it's an opinion question, like, what do you think about self-driving cars? You should say blah, blah, blah. Okay, now you gotta avoid doing too much with your ideas. If you start going into Elon Musk and start talking about global politics, then oh man, you are cooked. It will be so hard for you to explain and it will look bad. So do not try to impress the examiner with your ideas. They could not care less about that. Keep it simple so that you can talk for 2 minutes, because that is the goal, right? I had a friend who got a question about a recent novel that she has read, and she is not really into fiction that much, so she couldn't remember anything she has read. So she started by saying, well, I'm not really into fiction, so I don't remember anything right now because I like to watch TV shows instead of reading books. And then she explained why she likes to watch and to read and so on. And you know what? That was still answering the question. That was still a valid response. She told me that she didn't even take notes during the 1 minute preparation time because she had nothing to say about that topic. My goal is to get you out of your head when you speak. You can't get stuck in your brain. And one of the ways to avoid that is just by staying honest and answering the question like you would if it wasn't for the test. One more thing that I want to address here is these part 2 questions. And these are not strict questions. They're just there to guide you. They help you craft your response and stay organized, simply so that you don't go off the topic. So don't worry if you skip one or run out of time before explaining them all. Okay, that is completely okay. Then the third part is when the examiner asks you follow-up questions related to what you said in the second part. And when you compare part 3 questions to part 1 questions, what is the difference? There's actually a huge difference, right? Part 1 questions are very simple and you can answer them in just a couple of sentences and you can still answer them fully. But part 3 questions demand more explanation. For example, for this question right here, now you can't answer it in 1 or 2 sentences. You've got to explain and provide examples, right? So don't answer in 1 sentence and then go silent. The examiner is expecting more from you. So for this question, I would say, I think people today want to have creativity and content creation skills because people consume content all day. And these skills also have very good income potentials, and they're also more fun than 9-to-5 jobs. And nowadays, people prefer working smart over working hard. And that's it. If you still find it hard to measure your response length, just remember it should be longer than part 1 answer, but not as long as part 2 answer. Always remember, it is nothing but a casual conversation between 2 people. So do not treat it like a job interview. Worry about speaking correctly and speak slowly and calmly and confidently. There are no right or wrong answers when it comes to ideas. Just focus on the relevant things when you practice. I hope that helped. Thank you so much for watching and supporting, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a great day and goodbye.